chapter 1. We'll read verses 1 and 2. Revelation 1, verses 1 and 2. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and all things that he saw. So the main subject of the book of Revelation is Jesus Christ. It's the main subject of the Bible. We read concerning Christ and the two disciples on the Emmaus Road in Luke 24:27, and beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he, Jesus, expounded unto them in all the Scriptures the things concerning himself. The Bible is a revelation of Jesus Christ. The book of Revelation is the final and climactic book of Scripture. And we have this dramatic beginning, the revelation of Jesus Christ. From the very outset, we see the most important, the central subject and focal point of the book of Revelation is the revelation of Jesus Christ. It states the purpose of the book, to reveal Jesus Christ, the revelation of Jesus Christ. Those 5 words are the title of the book. And that title expresses what the book is. It's a revelation of Jesus Christ. That title declares the nature of the book. Again, it is a revelation. A revelation simply is the drawing back of a veil or a curtain, so that which is behind the veil or the curtain can be seen. And that's what that Greek word means. A drawing back of a veil, so that which is behind the veil can be seen. It is an unveiling. It is an uncovering. It is a revealing, and this for the purpose of being understood. So, the idea of revelation is later expressed, verse 1, by the word show. Show. That's what revelation is. It's a showing. To show. This was given to show. To cause to be seen. And it is the revelation of Jesus Christ. It is said that this revelation is which God gave unto him. It's a revelation of Jesus Christ that God gave unto Jesus Christ, him. Now notice keep a mark there, but in John chapter 3, again, this is a revelation given unto Christ from God. John 3. Let's read verses 34 and 35. For he whom God hath sent speaketh the words of God. For God giveth not the Spirit by measure unto him. The Father loveth the Son, and hath given all things into his hand. And that's what we just read in Revelation 1:2 is referring to. John 5 verse 20, For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And then in John chapter 12, we go there. Verse 49. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, He gave me a commandment, what I should say, and what I should speak. So God the Father gives this revelation to Jesus Christ. And the purpose of it is to, again, Revelation 1:1, to show unto His servants. To show unto His servants, to reveal unto His servants. This revelation concerns things which must shortly come to pass, which would be inclusive of the rapture, which we see in John 4 verse 1. It would be inclusive of the events of the tribulation period. It would be inclusive of the government and economic system of the tribulation period. It would be inclusive of the Antichrist, God's judgment upon earth, and all these come back to, and is to be viewed in light of the revelation of Jesus Christ. Now, the medium through which the revelation comes to Christ is, or from Christ, is by His angel. And the immediate recipient is His servant John. But again, those first 5 words, the revelation of Jesus Christ, an open display of the person, of the character, of the work, and of the glories of Jesus Christ. A revealing of the things which must shortly come to pass, but not apart from the unveiling of Jesus Christ. So contrary to the thinking of most, the things which must shortly come to pass is not the subject of the book. The subject is Christ. And Christ takes priority over the things. And this is regardless of the things. So, though the book of Revelation, though the book is a revelation of things which must shortly come to pass, it's more than that. It's a revelation of Jesus Christ. And the things which must shortly come to pass must be viewed in light of the revelation of Jesus Christ. So we want to take the thought of the message from those first 5 words, the revelation of Jesus Christ. But we want to view that in connection with the word things in verse 1. And you see that word things again in verse 2. So the subject is an unveiled Christ and things. An unveiled Christ and things. So think about the things and Christ. We must not view them separate. In our text, it is Jesus Christ and things which must surely come to pass. You have three thoughts there. Jesus Christ, things, and come to pass. In verse 19, we see that these things are under three headings, or in three tenses. Notice, the things which thou hast seen. So it's things in the past. The things which are, that's present. So it's things in the present. Things which shall be hereafter. That's future. So it's things past, present, and future. But the primary subject, the emphasis, is the revelation of Jesus Christ, the unveiling of Jesus Christ. Now the word things, of course, is a noun. It's a word of generality. Speak of things. That's a very general word. It can refer to objects. It can refer to happenings. It can refer to effects. It can refer to details. And as we've already seen, these things are past, present, and future. These things are in a constant flux of change. But in the midst of such, verse 4, God is said to be that which is, which was, and which is to come. Things are past, present, and future. And God is past, present, and future. And in verse 8, we hear Jesus say, I am Alpha. That is, I'm first. And I'm Omega. That is, I'm last. I am the beginning and the ending. And then notice, which is, that's present, and which was, that's past, and which is to come, that's future. So whatever things John was shown, and there were many, he is brought to view them through the lens of an unveiled Christ. So though the book of Revelation mostly concern things which must surely come to pass, that's not the central thing. That's not the focus. The things which must come to pass is not the focus. The focus is a person, Jesus Christ. Most people, as they approach the book of Revelation, that's why even the unsaved are interested in the book of Revelation. If you told them the book of Revelation is primarily about Jesus Christ, they wouldn't be interested. But you tell them the book of Revelation reveals things that are going to happen. Now people are interested. I want to know. And that's why even lost people are interested in the book. They have a desire to know the things which come to pass. But the emphasis of the book is an unveiled Christ. Throughout the book, there are many things seen by John. John was shown some horrible things. John was shown some unimaginable things. John was shown fearful things. He was shown things that he'd never seen before. Things that he had never experienced before. He was shown things unknown to man. Wondrous and marvelous things. But that's not the main focus. That's not the central object. You pull back the curtain a little further, and there it is. The revelation of Jesus Christ. So throughout the book, in the midst of all the things, is the open display of the person, the character, the work, and the glories of Jesus Christ. There are the things, but the primary subject and emphasis is the revelation of Jesus Christ. And it is of the utmost importance that we do not allow the things to distract us from Jesus Christ unveiled. In the midst of all the things, it is crucial to our spiritual well-being that we do not allow the things to pull us away from the primary subject and emphasis, the revelation of Jesus Christ. Satan greatly uses the things to distract God's people. So regardless of the things, we're to be Christ-centered, not things-centered. We're never to be things-centered. And even though the book of Revelation reveals things which must shortly come to pass, that's not where our center is. We're to be Christ-centered. Christ-centered. You stay Christ-centered, you'll be okay. You get things-centered, and you're headed down the wrong road, spiritually. So again, throughout the book, we hear John say repeatedly, I saw, I looked, I beheld, and I heard. And oh, how we need to, in all things, to see, to look, to behold, to hear Jesus Christ. Regardless of the things, He must be the emphasis. That is such a basic truth that most are ignorant of. Regardless of the things, He is the source. And He is the resource. Doesn't matter what the things are. He's the source. He's our resource. We must not allow the intimidation of things, whether they be past, present, or future, to dominate our thinking, to dominate our perception. Our cell phones, televisions, all designed to distract us with the things. The things. And it dulls our perception. We must maintain Christ-centeredness. That's a must. If we're going to have spiritual maturity and growth, that is an absolute must. So regardless of the things, past, present, or future, what we need in our lives is an unveiled Christ. So let's look at Christ unveiled. All through the book of Revelation, the curtain is pulled back, and there He is, Jesus Christ. It is the revelation of Jesus Christ the ultimate recipients, show unto His servants. The servants of God need to see an unveiled Christ. The one revealed is Jesus. The revelation of Jesus, the Savior of His people. And He is Christ. He is the God-sent anointed one. He is the one who has had worldwide impact throughout history. He is the one who has brought more comfort than any other. He is the one who has brought more cheer and more hope than any other. He is the one, regardless of things, that is needed by all. He is the one, regardless of things, who is God's provision and God's remedy. So in all the happenings of life, and in all service to the Lord, and in the midst of all the things, He is the one that we need to see. We must see Him. We must see the curtain pulled back, and there He is. And when that happens, oh, how differently the things look. In verse 5, the curtain is pulled back, and there is Jesus, the faithful one. The faithful one. The faithful witness. The trustworthy witness. It's a widespread and common question today. Who can you believe? Who can you trust? Who's telling us the truth? Probably nobody. Look to Him. He is the faithful witness. Just because you saw it on the internet doesn't make it so. He is the one who you can rely upon entirely. And that is so regardless of the things. So the curtain is pulled back, and there is Jesus, the faithful witness. There is Jesus, the first begotten of the dead. That is the conquering, victorious one. He's not the first one raised from the dead, but He is the guarantee that others will follow. The first begotten of the dead. He is our victory. And that is so regardless of the things. Notice also He's the prince. He's the ruler of the kings of the earth. So the curtain is pulled back. And there is Jesus. And there He is, the one that loved us particularly and distinctly and washed us from our sins in His own blood. There He is, the lover and redeemer of our soul. What does the things matter? It doesn't. You need to see Him. In verse 6, this one is called Jesus Christ. This one called Jesus Christ is the one who has transformed us. He has brought us from a life of spiritual bankruptcy, a life of ruin and misery and gloom and defeat and disgrace, and He makes us something that we never were before. He hath made us kings and priests unto God. We are a blessed people, and none of the things can reverse that. None of the things can change that. In verse 7, the curtain is pulled back, and there's Jesus. He's the coming conqueror. He's coming. He's coming victorious. And none of the things can delay that. None of the things can change that. Jesus is coming. Nothing else can Change that. Verse 8, the curtain is pulled back, and there is Jesus, the Alpha and Omega, the A to Z, the beginning and the ending. That is, He bookends all things. All things. He's the beginning, He's the end. Whatever the all things are, none of them were before Him, and none of them will be after Him. So there He is. He's everything. So, oh, how God's people need to quit acting like the things is everything. He is everything. And we need to see the things in that light. It is Jesus saying, I am the first and I am the final word. I'm the first and the final word. And this regardless of the things that come to pass. It is a statement that covers all. I am the beginning and the ending. Also there in verse 8, this one called Jesus Christ is the immutable one. Notice which is, which was, and which is to come. He is what He was, and He will be what He was and what He is. And this is so, regardless of the things. It is Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ, the same, yesterday, today, and forever. So the curtain is pulled back, and there's Jesus Christ, the one who can impact and alter and absolutely transform all the things. All the things. He's the all-sufficient one. He has the life we need. He has the salvation, the hope, the strength, the victory that people need. He's all-sufficient. Also in verse 8, this one called Jesus Christ is referred to as the Almighty. He's the possessor of all power. Regardless of the things, He is the possessor of all power. God's people need to quit allowing things to dominate their lives. He is the God of all power, the possessor of all power. Verse 12, there are 7 golden candlesticks, emblematic of the Lord's churches. We see that in verse 20. The curtain is pulled back in verses 13 through 16. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one. It is the one already described up to this point. And John is captivated by the one in the midst. It's not the 7 golden candlesticks that have captivated him. It's the one who's in the midst of those 7 candlesticks. And John then proceeds to describe this one that he's seen. And as you read his description, it's obvious that he saw him very clearly. He saw him distinctly. The revelation of Jesus Christ. There is his clothing, described in verse 13. This is his priestly and kingly garments. It pictures his dignity and honor and his high and noble position, characterized by righteousness and power and truth. You read a little further and there's his head and his hair, signifying that he is the Ancient of Days. There are also his eyes, verse 14. Signifying His all-seeing ability. There are His feet, verse 15. Signifying His ability to trample whatever stands in the way. There's also His voice in verse 15. Signifying His authority. Verse 16, there's His right hand, signifying His power and His authority. There is His mouth in verse 16, signifying the power of His word to execute judgment and the ease in which He executes judgment. He just speaks. There's His face in verse 16, signifying His beauty and His glory. There He is, unveiled in the midst of the candlesticks for His churches. In verse 13, He's in the midst of His churches. The curtain is pulled back. And in verse 16, He's holding the pastors of those churches in His right hand. He's revealing Himself as the controller, as the protector of His churches and the pastors. Chapters 2 and 3, the curtain is pulled back. And He is the one who knows. And the one who has a message for His churches. He is the one His churches need. And again, this is regardless of the things. In verse 18, the curtain is pulled back. And there's the living one. He says, I am He that liveth. And there He is. And was dead. I am He that liveth and was dead. He is revealing Himself as the victorious one. And then He says, and behold, I am alive. I was dead. But behold, concentrate, focus in on this. I am alive. Forever. Forevermore. I am alive forever. And go beyond forever. I am alive forever and more. It is the revelation of Jesus Christ, living and victorious beyond forever. And none of the things can alter this. Nothing can happen that's going to change. I am alive forever. Nothing changes that. And then notice, and have the keys of hell and death. I'm alive forevermore, and I have absolute authority and absolute dominion. And this is forever, regardless of the things. And this is beyond forever. We can't even comprehend. And throughout the book, Jesus Christ is seen as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Lamb over and over and over. He's referred to as the Lamb. The eternal reigning Christ, the ruler of nations, the Lord of lords, the King of kings, all through the book, He is unveiled. Oh, how we need to see Him. We need to see Him. So again, the revelation of Jesus Christ and things. Things. In our lives, the things, again, it's a very general word, but it can involve personal needs, personal cares, and heavy burdens. In our lives, things can involve difficulties and problems. These problems can show up in health, marriage, family, finances, jobs. On and on you can go. Things can involve sorrows. Things can involve heartaches. In our lives, things can involve confusion, can involve anxiety. In our lives, the things can involve heavy-heartedness, can involve frustration, can involve fear, can involve change, pleasant change, unpleasant change. It can involve upheaval and uncertainty. The things may involve great depths and fierce and intense battles and struggles. So things, almost endless. The problem is not the things. The problem is that so many of God's people view the things strictly from a human perspective and viewpoint. And that is the problem. That's the real problem. They see things through the lens of a carnal mind. And the result is their mindset, their walk, are being dominated by the things of life. And they live their lives under the control and the sway of the things. Get up in the morning, many, first thing they do is turn on the news. Why would you do that? You are just inviting the things to control your day. Their focus and obsession is the things. And when that is so, they are governed, they are driven, they are shaped by the things. Their moods are determined by the things. But in the midst of all the things, pull back the curtain and see a revealed Christ, the revelation of Jesus Christ. Greater and more than any problem, any difficulty, any need. An unveiled, revealed, manifest Christ is greater and more than any storm you will ever have to endure. None of us know what storms we may have to endure. But know this, a revealed, manifested Christ is greater than any storm you will ever endure. He is greater and more than any wilderness you might have to go through for a while. None of us know what wildernesses we might have to go through. But the revelation of Jesus Christ is greater than any pressure, any weight that you may ever experience. We need to be a people whose attention is constantly drawn to and made to experience and to feel the reality, the power, and the influence of a revealed Christ. We can't help but see the things. We can't help but feel the things. But they're not to dominate our life. They're not to take over. They're not to take over our day. We need the revelation of Jesus Christ. And you think about it. You've had wonderful times, even when in darkness, when Christ unveils Himself and there's light. There it is. Been in weakness, and Christ unveils Himself, and you see and feel the power and the reality of His strength. Times when you've been weary, and Christ unveils Himself, and you feel the reality of rest, release in Him. The things don't give you rest. It's Jesus Christ. We've experienced disappointment in our lives. Christ unveils Himself, and you see and you feel the reality of His fulfillment. We need to see Him. We have experienced uncertainty, and we see and feel the power and reality of His certainty. Makes a difference. The revelation of Jesus Christ. How many times when life has seemed to be in upheaval, and we see and feel the power and the reality of His peace. This peace that passeth understanding. Times of fear, Christ unveils Himself, and suddenly there's courage. Times of defeat, Christ unveils Himself, and we feel the reality of His victory. Oh, how remarkable, how meaningful, how influential, how inspiring an unveiled Christ. That's what we need to see. We need to be a people whose motives, whose thinking, whose viewpoints, whose focus, whose pursuits are shaped by the Lord and this book, not the things which have happened, which are happening, and which will happen. We're not to be controlled by the things. We need to be a people gripped and occupied with the revelation of Jesus Christ. That's what we need every single day. The revelation, the unveiling of Jesus Christ. And we need to see Him as John saw Him clearly and distinctly. So clearly that he defined, he described who Jesus was. And if we were to ask each person, without hearing other people's description, but ask each one individually, describe Jesus Christ. What kind of description could we give? What kind of description could we give? What kind of personal description could we give? He's like this because I experienced it. John described Christ. We need to live in the realm of an unveiled Christ so that we can describe Him. Now, if we were to ask people to describe some things, oh man, they could give you a detailed description of the things. He said this, she said this, they did this, they did, and they could give you detailed description. It may not be accurate, but they could give you a detailed description. Now describe Christ. Well, they can't. Are we Christ-centered or are we things-centered? Makes all the difference in the world. Brother David, you'd come and lead us in verse of song. We'll all stand. Brother David will lead us in singing.